Good morning, everybody. We're going to continue the biopic review series today with our look at one of my favorite movies of all time, the Glenn Miller Story, starring Jimmy Stewart and June Allyson. It came out on February 10th of 1954 and was directed by Anthony Mann, and also starred one of my all-time favorite actors, Harry Morgan. This is essentially a biopic about Glenn Miller, starting from right around the time just before he married his wife Helen, and going all the way through up to the time he left for World War II. And of course we know that he died in the war. Or actually, his plane that he was piloting or riding on disappeared, and it was never found. But this, Glenn Miller could be equated with Brian Wilson in that he was always searching for the perfect sound, and the perfect band, and that was kind of, what Brian was doing, especially when he was doing Pet Sounds and Smile for the, with the Beach Boys, and so this movie goes, through Glenn's whole process of, finding the right musicians and putting his bands together, and the recording of In the Mood and Moonlight Serenade, which before this movie, before I saw this movie, and I've seen it countless times, I never realized that Moonlight Serenade, has lyrics. So because I'm so used to hearing it in its instrumental form, which is, which is the way Glenn Miller recorded it, but it actually has lyrics. And this movie also has cameos by Louis Armstrong and Gene Krupa. And this is actually the movie that got me into jazz and big band, and Glenn Miller especially. This is the movie that also turned me into a huge Jimmy Stewart fan. So I have Jimmy Stewart to thank for getting me into big band and jazz. And this marks the first of, I think, 3 or 4 movies that Jimmy Stewart and Harry Morgan starred in together. They also starred in Strategic Air Command, and I believe, I can't remember the others, but I know they've done 2 or 3. But in my mind, Jimmy Stewart was the perfect person to play Glenn Miller. I mean, and he is, in my view, Jimmy Stewart was a genius. And this marks the first of 3 movies that Jimmy Stewart and June Allyson played husband and wife together, and they were also in Strategic Air Command and The Stratton Story. And there's a joke that June Allyson tells at the roast of when Dean Martin was doing the celebrity roast on Jimmy Stewart. June Allyson said that she and Jimmy were married so many times, and in the movie she should have gotten alimony or something. I can't remember, but because they were married, 3 times in the movies, and I've certainly they're one of my favorite on-screen, couples. And so, and actually, this movie also, uh, dives a little bit into Glenn Miller and Helen's courtship, and stuff. So, if you're a Glenn Miller fan or a Jimmy Stewart fan, you will not be disappointed in this movie. And actually, there's going to be 2 screen recordings from now on when we do for the rest of the biopic review series. I'm going to have the Wikipedia page, which will give you in-depth background on the movie, and also the IMDb page, for those of you that don't want to read all the background and just want to get an overview of who's in the movie and all that. And so I hope you enjoy this. I give this 5 stars. Shot and produced by Annabara. Audio and video provided by WeVideo and the YouTube Music Library. Screen recordings taken from Wikipedia and IMDb. Photo taken from Google Images. Achieved using iPicky.com. The background music in today's video is Big Swing Band by Audionautics.